Hello friends, we're already on episode 4 of 6 in the series where I read books that made you feel something. Today it's about books that shocked you. So I put out this survey months ago now. You can still fill it out because I have 2 more episodes to go. Books that scared you and books that made you learn something. For every video, I'm showing you the 78 most common answers and then telling you which of them I have already read. In this case, I've read over half of the ones that were responded the most. And I agree, some of these books have the most shocking plot twists I've ever read, or have the most shocking plots I've ever read. As for my TBR, I could pick anything from the right side, but I do have this sliver in the middle that I have put as my potential TBR for this week. Now you might look at the list and you might think, oh, that book didn't shock me, or I'm surprised that a literary fiction is here instead of thrillers. And I will say again, what I think is so interesting about putting this collection together is it's not like I'm asking people their top 10 books that surprised them. In which case you could call some like good comps for others. Like, oh, if you were surprised by this, here's another one the same reader should check out. It's more like people who only read literary fiction, they're gonna put the most shocking literary fiction they've ever read. Someone who primarily reads SFF, they're gonna answer like that. Of course, we got a lot of thrillers, a lot of mysteries, but I'm not just thinking of these as books that have a big twist, a big shocking moment, but maybe have a shocking concept or just say something shocking in the middle of a collection. Like with Rejection, this was listed as a book to make people laugh, but also listed as a book that surprised people. And I just want to know which story it is in here and what those people were so surprised by. We also have a thriller with Her Last Breath. I have a literary historical fiction, The Safekeep. Then I don't have copies of these short sci-fi novellas, but I want to try them out, William and the Membranes. Also, Janice Hallett showed up so much, so I feel like I'll try to read one of hers by the end of the week. I really like the cover of There Is No Anti-Memetics Division. I don't think I've ever heard of this before, but I'm gonna try that one. And then maybe I'll dabble in some other places. I'm not totally sure what I'm gonna end up reading, but I'm excited by my prospects. And here is a scale. These are all screenshots of videos where I myself have been shocked. I'm gonna rank each book by how much it surprised me. Maybe not at all, maybe the most shocking thing I've ever read. Oh my gosh. I decided to kick off this video with The Safekeep because naturally thrillers and mysteries make a lot of sense when you pick them up. You're expecting a twist, you're expecting a shocking moment, and with a general fiction, I feel like you might not be anticipating it. And at this point, I'm definitely not. Like, the shocking thing of this book could be literally anything at this point, especially because I went into it not knowing anything and I still have yet to read the description. I think this won some literary prizes recently, so that's why it was on my radar. Not enough to actually know what the book is though. So it's set in the 1960s. We follow this woman, Isabel, and kind of like her obsession with her late mother's household objects, items, and she lives in the familial home by herself. It doesn't necessarily belong to her, but she's the only one who lives there, and she has 2 other brothers. So when one of her brothers insists that whilst he's out of town for a lengthy period of time on a trip, his partner shall now also reside in this now shared home, Isabel can't necessarily object because it's not just her household. So now these 2 women are living together, and Isabel gets really bad vibes from Eva, that woman who is now living with her. So that's the first 50 pages and what I got introduced to. These 2 women moving in together, and Eva is very like assertive and has decided she's going to sleep in a certain room. And Isabel is questioning if the items in the house are going missing. They also have some people who work in the home and if they're taking things. And when I tell you, I could not predict at this point like what the twist or shocking element of this book is. I really mean it. Like, one of these women could kill the other. One of these women could, like, they could sleep together. She could burn the house down. She could invite the entire town to move in. She could marry the town goat. Like, I really don't know where the story's going at all. And because I'm sure somebody will bring it up, yes, of course, I do think that knowing there is going to be some type of shocking element, like, maybe that's changing how I'm reading the book. And that's unfortunate, but there's nothing I can do about it at this point. And I think that maybe if we're looking for shocks typically in our mystery thrillers. Like, you're always kind of anticipating that. But in a book like this, where it doesn't feel like there's going to be a surprise, maybe the surprise of the book is that there's a surprise at all. You know what I mean? So when you're reading it, you're not really keeping an eye out for something wild that's about to happen. But because I am and I'm anticipating it, it could kind of alter my thoughts. I'm gonna try not to like say I'm bored and I'm waiting for something exciting to happen, because that's not fair to the book. But this also isn't something I would have picked up otherwise if I didn't know there was some type of surprising element. So from here on out, it's just gonna be me and the book. I'm just gonna lock in. I'm gonna try to forget any outside influence, and I don't know when something surprising will happen, but hopefully I manage to turn on the camera when and if that occurs. Hello, I'm now 100 pages from the end, and I feel like we're ramping up to something that's gonna happen. I don't necessarily think like a reveal or a twist, but things are coming to a head. Things are going to come to a head amongst various people. Like, I'm so sure of it around here. So I am going to film myself reading from here. But if you really don't want to know anything about this, like literally anything, even what it says in the synopsis, then skip this section, I guess. But this is, I don't know if I want to call it a love story, but it is a sapphic relationship. These women do become involved, and that is the plot. There are obviously reasons why they shouldn't be and why things would be coming to a head. I think the synopsis it makes it clear enough. Like, it says it's a tale of desire, and it says Isabel's paranoia gives way to infatuation. But then it also says that there's going to be like truths that are revealed. So obviously something is being withheld from us. I can't really picture what it would be. I guess like getting into this relationship with false pretenses is the only thing that makes sense to me, but I can't imagine like what someone would be hiding or why or what their end goal would be. I like the story enough. I'm not totally hooked. It reminds me of reading Fingersmith though, for sure. So maybe if you loved that, you could love this. Though this one, much more explicit than what I remember from Fingersmith like ever being. So stressful. Completed The Safekeep now by
The Safekeep, a novel by Yael van der Wouden.
Yael van der Wouden. I haven't read very many books set in the Netherlands, so that was interesting. And it touched very intentionally and thoughtfully on the persecution of Jewish folks in the Netherlands. So that bit of education, definitely valuable. One of my upcoming videos in this series is books that taught me something, books that taught you things. And I kind of assumed that I would only get nonfiction, but there were a couple of fiction books on that list. I'm not sure if there was enough to make like the official list, but I thought that was interesting. This actually reminded me of reading On the Calculation of Volume, like the isolation and the descriptions of the house itself, just really well described, really atmospheric. You got such a good idea of how things were set up and how the people were moving around the house together. The writing descriptions, beautiful. There was a lot of like fruit descriptions, how people were eating fruit and like things dripping down their chins and like just how they were consuming this fruit, and then also using the fruit as metaphors for how they were consuming each other. I tried to be convinced of their relationship. I didn't really feel it. I know it makes sense why they would be interested in each other or why they would end up having this dynamic, but in a more like modern setting with more safety, more options. I can't imagine these two being love interests for each other. Like, I just didn't see it. And I don't know if that's because I also didn't necessarily like either of these characters, but you're not, I don't think, supposed to be like, oh my God, I love these characters. You're just kind of at a distance learning about them and seeing the kind of like back and forth and chaotic energy that they're bringing to this relationship, but also the softness and the beauty of, you know, what they do for one another. I can see other people absolutely being obsessed with this book. I just didn't quite get there. Though I can appreciate a lot of things about it. I'm going to give it a 3. The themes were interesting for sure, about like ownership and occupation and like fairness. But at the end of the day, I was certainly underwhelmed by the actual plot. And that's not the book's fault, because it is what it wants to be. This like slow, intricate dynamic. I thought it was just fine. And as far as shock and surprise, I definitely was that, but it wasn't like a jaw drop, oh my God, everything has changed. It was more of an, oh, okay, like interesting how that's the explanation behind things. So I think this was an interesting place to start, and I'm definitely going to move on to a thriller next.
Oh my God, Becky.
Her Last Breath has been on my TBR since it was announced. I've been talking about it for like a year now and how intrigued I am by it. I personally get really claustrophobic anytime, because I don't watch these TikToks or videos, like I would scroll past them so quickly, but anytime someone is like in a cave, in a tight, enclosed space, and they're like slowly inching their way, like I don't understand how that is a hobby for people. I get mountain climbing, I get like the danger of it, not for me, but for other people, like the adrenaline rush or like cliff jumping, or, you know, I just don't understand the going inside of a small space and like almost getting stuck and how like exciting that is. That does not excite me. I can't imagine how it would give anyone else feelings other than anxiety. And I think that that's what this book is gonna exude, because these two friends are going caving there, or whatever it's called, and there's somebody alongside them who knows something about one of them, or something gets revealed about this guy and they are in danger. What's definitely intriguing to me about this, beyond just my own interest and how much like I like this author, is that all 3, or he's written more, but 3 of his books are on the spreadsheet. No Exit really surprised people. The Last Word surprised people. And they did that for me as well. So Her Last Breath, I think, also has the potential to really surprise me. Nothing shocking has happened quite yet. So I wanted to check in with you early on, around 80 pages in, to let you know the plot before it gets too convoluted and then I forget like what's a spoiler and what's not. And after the plot, talk about the structure, which I think for some people they would consider like a spoiler, or as far as the way that I want to talk about it, because I have like thoughts and theories. Tess and Allie go caving together. Allie is a shy legal assistant. Tess is an influencer. They descend into the depths. They realize they're not alone. A stranger who claims to be a fellow caver harasses them. Allie insults the guy and he retaliates. Soon, Tess is trapped inside a narrow crawl space hundreds of feet underground, fighting to stay alive. Okay, that's what the story is. And then 24 hours later, as a hospitalized Tess recounts her harrowing story of survival, the detective interviewing her shares new and shocking secrets about Allie's true past. Together, they begin to suspect the brutal attack wasn't so random at all. And that is what's happening in the story. Today's bookmark is a Winter Wonderland scratch and win that I have not scratched, and I got it for Christmas. Maybe we could scratch it right now and I could see if, oh my God, a live winning moment. The story is absolutely as tense and claustrophobic as I anticipated. It's like a lot and it's so good. Okay, I found a quarter. That's not really ideal for a scratch and win. The perfect thing is a dime. Now my little, not a spoiler, but like could be considered it if you don't want to think about the book as you're reading it. This book is like 90% the story in the cave and 10% being interviewed. And I think that that is kind of genius, because then within the plot, you forget that you're not actually reading the plot. We have the detective and then Tess talking, and the detective is asking questions and leading, kind of. And then we get this little chunk at the end that's like an idea of what could have happened. Like sometimes it feels like the detective is putting this together, and sometimes it feels like it's coming straight from Tess. And then the next chapter, and for many, many pages, is Tess's recollection. But I don't think we know for sure if it's Tess's recollection or if this is what's being constructed by these two people in conversation. The winning numbers are 29, 23, 30, and 28. Do I have any of them as my numbers? No, I do not. I'm so glad I held on to this for 6 months. I have a feeling we're about to get a reveal. Like it's been building up and we've gotten some answers, and I'm just gonna read the next couple chapters maybe on camera because I feel like we're about to get something. Okay, I'm about, let's say 40% of the way through. I'm gonna go ahead and recommend this for people who recently watched Apex and you want something that has similar vibes, because there's something so creepy about killers in books dancing and singing, and that exists in both of these things. And you're getting some of his perspective, like what he is up to. And I like how straightforward this book is. It's like the synopsis tells you there is a guy, he is doing something bad to these women. But because up until this point, the book has been exactly as pitched, there's something going on. There's something happening over here that the book doesn't want me to think about. So I'm gonna keep reading this as fast as I physically can before my mind starts coming up with all of these theories. Because I don't wanna guess, I wanna be surprised. I unfortunately do have a couple theories and I feel like they're probably gonna pan out, but I wanna believe that the book is smarter than me. And it's doing even more back here than I could even imagine. I knew it. I double knew it. It's juicy, but it's not shocking. Okay, I need to make my lunch. I just remembered I have the audiobook of this, an ALC from Libro FM that I got months ago. I don't want to stop reading this book, so I'm synced up and I'm gonna listen for a little bit. Oh my god, I knew this was gonna happen. I really enjoyed that. It was definitely not shocking. Nothing happened that couldn't be predicted, but just based on the synopsis that we get, yeah, the book does multiple surprising things, objectively. Not a 5-star read, but certainly a 4. I don't want to give any more away about the plot or anything, so that's that on that one today. Really glad that I liked a thriller. And I think Taylor Adams balances so well mystery and thriller. There's just a couple little mysteries, but it's mostly just tension, and he builds atmosphere so well that I really wouldn't hesitate to recommend this to anybody.
Oh my god.
I was sure I would be able to find William at the bookstore pretty easily, or the library, but I guess I wasn't fully prepared for this vlog because I did not get my hands on it physically. It's at one of the library branches like 2 hours away from me. And that's a little far for me to travel. And if I request it, it won't get here on time. And none of my local bookstores have it in stock. So I guess I thought it was a little more popular than it actually is. I had it out from the library a couple months ago. I read the first chapter. I really was intrigued, but I, in the moment, picked something else to read for whatever video it was. So I have been reading this for the last hour. I've been listening to the audiobook, and there's been nothing surprising, but I figured I should turn on my camera as I get to the very end because maybe there's like a twist at the end. I think maybe this is one that's listed as just a like surprising concept and that people are shocked and disturbed by in general, like the idea of AI taking over, which is also what happened in Exiles. But Exiles did have an ending. It wasn't shocking. It wasn't like a big plot twist. It was just like oh, that's what the book is doing. That's so, wow, I didn't see that coming. So maybe also William is doing that. But so far it's been interesting. We have a man with agoraphobia, it seems, and he can't leave his house, and he has created companions with robots. And at one point, pretty early in the book, him and his wife his pregnant wife, have a couple come over and they're spending the evening together. And then they meet the AI, and it is, what does the synopsis say? Okay, the house is keeping them inside. Like the AI itself is kind of running the house. It's supposed to be voice activated. So they're supposed to be able to control everything through this system and say like, okay, front door close, blah, 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 do whatever. And now their voice commands are not working, and they think it's William specifically who is like this one robot, or it could be just something that has gotten into the system that is keeping them trapped now in the house. It's a short novella. It's around 200 pages. So I don't have too much of the audiobook to go. It says I'm at 92%. So I'm just going to listen to the last little bit on camera in case something shocking happens. While I've been listening, I've been doing a little coloring. Turned on the camera at the perfect point. I can't believe how well I timed that. Literally within 5 minutes, the moment. Like, what? I didn't see that coming at all. Okay, here's the thing. This is at the top of my list for shocking things so far in the video, but it shouldn't have been that shocking. In fact, I have definitely read that exact reveal before, and I don't know how I didn't consider it, didn't see it coming. Maybe because it's so short and I was just listening to the audiobook, and the atmosphere is so good. If the ending went the same way the rest of the book did, where it was just like well written and good, I was ready to give this like a 3.75, but the fact that I got by the ending, it's definitely a 4. It could be a 4.25 maybe. I had a good time reading this, and I liked having to navigate the relationships between all the people in the house, and then also the house itself, and the fact that it's taking place in one night and it's Halloween, but they're like trapped inside and everything's happening outside, but there's so much happening inside that like nobody outside knows about. It's just such a good date to set it during, and I would not have liked that to be any longer than it was. I didn't realize what was happening until the book told me, and that is really the perfect scenario to be in. I can't even think of the book that I've read before that has that exact reveal, but I know that I've read it. I know this was a shorter review because I didn't really know how to talk about this one beyond just the initial pitch because it's a novella. It has such a perfectly ominous vibe. Like if you're freaked out by that little creature on the bike in Saw, like this has the same tone.
Oh my god, this song's so lit. Congratulations.
So I decided to start all 3 of the Janice Hallett books that I had because I had them all. And the most convenient one for me to pick would have been The Examiner because I actually pulled that out of my members TBR jar recently. But this one intrigued me the most. And I'm not a cult girl. We know I don't like books about cults typically, but it is in a very specific scenario where like someone is stuck inside the cult for like the entirety of the book and they're just coming to realize they're inside the cult. This one has to do with this woman who is a journalist, author, and she's writing a book on this case that's about to turn 18 years old. And therefore the baby who was involved in it is about to turn 18 years old and can now be interviewed. But because of the media around the case, like a lot of people might be looking into this child, and everyone collectively wants to find out the truth about what happened all these years ago. There was 4 or 5 people who took their own lives at the same time, and they're known as the Alperton Angels and assumed to be a cult. There was like symbols drawn on the floor according to some people, and there was the parents, or maybe the parents of this baby, who were teenagers, who said something along the lines of like our baby was about to be sacrificed. Don't really know the truth about anything. It's told in mixed media, so emails, letters, various correspondence. And it hooked me pretty early on because you're following Amanda, who is determined to accomplish this thing and write this book. But the way that she's corresponding with everyone is different depending on what she wants out of them. One of my favorite things about the appeal when I read it was that you weren't always like getting the truth via the emails. It was like what somebody wanted to say. So they were auditioning for a play and they would email and be like, oh, you're my first choice for this. But in the next email, you'd find out they weren't their first choice. And I just think that's fun. And that happens in here too, where you will get her complimenting someone because she wants to find information out. And this case has been big enough. There's someone in jail also. Who knows if they actually did it, but who interviewed people back in the day, like detectives and stuff, but also people who were inspired by the case and turned it into novelizations or like a movie adaptation. And so she's talking to these people and she's like, oh, I loved your work on this. I know other people have done similar movies, but yours was elite. And she'll send that same email to 3 different people. And there's another person who is apparently trying to write the exact same story with the exact same hook from the same angle. And so now they might have to work together and collaborate on that when they very much don't want to. So it's very fun. I definitely can't imagine what the shocking piece of information would be. Like there's someone in jail. There's someone who, like, how did all the people die in the suicide? Was it actually a mass suicide or was there a killer? There's someone else who died seemingly unrelated, but maybe related. And the person responsible for that is in jail. So was that person actually like the cult leader responsible for both of the deaths? Where is the baby? Were the parents of the baby, who I'm assuming are the parents of the baby, actually the parents of the baby? Who birthed the baby? What happened to the baby? There are so many questions. So like any answer, I guess, would be surprising. I've reached the first, I would say 2 of 4 answers that are coming in this book. And I'll say I didn't see them coming, but they weren't the most exciting to me because I don't think I'm the most invested in this story, which is really unfortunate because I wanted to love this. I gave the appeal a 4.25 and I was like, okay, Janice Hallett, is it really going to be for me? And the thing that I like most about her books is the writing, more so than the plot. I love the mixed media of it all, and not every author, in fact, not many authors can pull off these distinct voices the way that she is. There are so many characters in these books and I don't get them mixed up like ever. They're all so distinct in not just the way they're described and how we come to understand them, but their correspondence themselves. Like you're never reading a letter and forgetting who's writing. And that really is a feat, making such distinct characters when there is so many, but also when you're only reading correspondence. Like she is a very talented author. Maybe it is because I still like don't love cult books anyway that I'm not the most invested, but I really don't know what more I can even tell you about this. Like, how do you even talk about a mystery book? All right, my contacts are so dry. I've been up for so long and I should probably put some eye drops in, but there's still more things to learn and maybe there'll be something really shocking about this. That would be fun. And by that, I mean, like when I'm looking for a reveal in a book, I don't just want the answer to the question I've had the entire time. For a book to really shock me, it needs to be something that, like, the book was distracting me by placing all of these questions and then answering them. Those could be surprising, the answers, but then I want there to be like a question I don't even know, that I didn't even know to ask, and then getting an answer to that. Like, that's the most fun experience. And I do think maybe there's something being built here. So we will finish it together. Final review on the thermometer. Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. Like with most books in this video, most of them are not changing my life, but it was interesting. I'm glad I've read now like a thriller, a mystery, a sci-fi. We're hitting, you know, general fiction. Often the mysteries that I pick up turn out to be thrillers or mystery thrillers. This one was a mystery properly. And I always want to love them, I think, a little bit more than I do. I'm giving this one a 3.75. Quite liked the ending. It was focused on the person that I thought it would be, but not for the reason that I thought it would be. There were a couple moments throughout the book that I was a little bit tired of what I was reading. I was like, do I really need to continue on with this piece for 3 more pages? Or like, can we move on to another email, another voice recording, another journal, like whatever. I did just want it to be generally a little bit more exciting, but I think overall, the plot was not the most for me, but it was extremely well written and well constructed. So that's where we're leaving it today.
Oh my God, Ronnie.
I have started reading Rejection. This is a collection of stories, but it is like one overall novel. So it's a novel in stories. All these people are connected at some point. Right now, the theme is very clear with Rejection. The first one was called The Feminist, and it was about an incel and just his thought process and how he desperately wanted someone but wanted to be appreciated and was coming up with all of these reasons why he couldn't find someone and why he's like the perfect guy and everyone should want to be with him. I get the goal of it for sure. If I have to read this kind of tone the entire book, it's a little exhausting. The second one, Pix, is about a woman and her journey of love and wanting someone and going after different people and rejection after rejection for both these people. When I was talking about planning on reading this, I asked somebody which story I should definitely like have my camera on for, and they responded with Ehegao, or The Ballad of Sexual Repression. So that's the third one, and we'll see what I think about this. This one's about to be very sexually explicit, I can tell. Okay, so in this one, we have a character who is fearing rejection, so doesn't fully want to explain what he's interested in the bedroom. But the other guy is like gung-ho, he's like, tell me what you want me to do. And I feel like it's gonna get a little unhinged. How is this still going? Sure. Wait. What? Okay. First thought, wow, everyone's so creative. Second thought, you were distracting me so much with that I didn't think we were gonna get a kind of twist ending. What do you mean? That is so deeply embarrassing. I can't even continue the book right now. Like, that's not a real person. Oh, I'm so sad for him. You guys told me I was gonna laugh. You guys told me I was gonna be shocked. You didn't tell me I was gonna cry. What a horrifying ending. I have to go. I have completed Rejection at this point. This is not a one-day read. Take your time. It's a lot. You'll either find this obnoxious, exhausting in a fun way, or obnoxious and exhausting in an annoying way. I was never having a good time, but I did think it was a good book. And the ending was so fun and so my taste. The last two like stories or whatever, it bumped it up from like a whole half star. So I'm gonna land on a 4.25 for this. The self-awareness was really for me, and it is really for the chronically online. Like, you will see representation for people that you have encountered for sure. Maybe for yourself, a little representation for yourself, not in a good way. And to an extreme, like all the people in here behaved like a meme, like the worst people you've ever seen in a forum. There's like the most obnoxious people, like people are speaking as if they're memes themselves. There was a lot of commentary in here. We're talking about politics and identity and fraught relationships, sexuality and kink, and a couple of these went on for a little too long and a couple of them were a little too short. So it wasn't perfect for me, but it all connected in an interesting way, and you got more backstory about characters later on based on learning about other characters who were related. Definitely the one story I reacted to, that's the one that I had that elicited the biggest response from me. So I didn't feel myself reading the rest, and you wouldn't have really seen much happening for me. But that one was wackadoodle. I don't know who to recommend this to, but I'm glad that I read it.
Oh my God.
This is gonna be our final day of this challenge, and I feel the pressure to pick the perfect final book, but I just want to read something that I'm in the mood for. And I think I want to hit one more thriller, but I am liking the science fiction concepts, and I know there's a lot, so I'm going to do a combo. You already saw the title page. I'm doing The Family Experiment by John Marrs. Now, I haven't read John Marrs in a long time. The One is such a standout, memorable read to me, and I have a bunch of his other books like literally already on my TBR at home, but none of those ones showed up on the survey. But this one got like 5 mentions, I think. And so I actually tested this one out and a couple other ones on audio last night. And there are ones that I'm committed to reading. Actually, the membranes I couldn't even find. The anti-memetic or whatever that one was called, Division, I'm interested, but not in this moment. Like, it didn't capture my attention the way that The Family Experiment did. This one, we're bouncing around to a bunch of different perspectives. All of these families who are participating in this technology, virtual reality baby situation. It's a competition, it's a reality show. Each couple, there's 5 or 6, they want to have a baby and they don't have the means to do so. So they will get like $250,000 at the end for fertility treatments or whatever they need. And in order to win, they have to be voted on by the viewers of who's taking care of this virtual baby the best. So they each have their own virtual baby. They go into this virtual reality, and we're introduced to all of the couples and their dynamics, why they want a baby. And it's just a lot of like really typical early parenthood situations. Even though it's a virtual baby, like you have one character who their partner is much more nurturing than them, and they're from an analytical like career background, so they're like, oh, I don't know how to take care of this baby where it's not predictable. Then there's another couple who is like having a baby to kind of save their relationship. One person just so shocked by how much poop the baby can possibly produce, which is a feeling that I think a lot of early parents share. It's like, how did so much of this come out of such a tiny thing? There's some of the parents who are questioning, like, why did we sign up for this? Why did we do this to begin with? And I think this is an interesting journey because some of these parents, maybe by the end of the experience, will decide they don't want children because this virtual reality simulation isn't all it's cracked up to be. Of course, because we're talking about the internet, there's lots of conversation about monetizing the children, and some of these parents are influencers in their day-to-day, and they're like getting sponsors already in this virtual reality world. The other partner is like, don't you feel like we shouldn't be making money off of our baby? The kind of mystery we have so far is one of these parents has a background. It's like 12 years ago, something happened with them, with their memory, and I'm interested to learn about that and how it plays into the larger scope of the story. And then also, there's a question at the end if any of them will want to keep their virtual lives and their virtual baby. Like if they get so close to it that they can't imagine giving up the baby by the end. And in that case, if they want to keep their baby, they get less money, but they still can keep some money by the end. I'm having a really good time being introduced to all of these characters and like picking who I want to win and who I think will win. And even if the competition is going to continue with the trajectory that it seems, I'm sure there's going to be wrenches thrown in and it's going to be a little wackadoodle. And that is really what I need right now. So I will keep all of the other books on my radar for sure, but this is what I'm committing to. So I'm going to pop into the bookstore and buy it physically because I'm liking the audiobook, but I like John Mars as a physical read too. Oh shit! I was just trying to get some B-roll of me reading this book. I didn't think anything surprising would happen as soon as I pulled it out. It's doing exactly what the one in The Passengers did, especially the one. Side note, this is connected to both of those books. So like this all exists in the same universe, but I don't think you have to read the other books because I barely remember like who we're talking about or the relationships, but they're all referencing each other. And I remember each chapter of the one, there were these like 2-3 page chapters, and almost every single one, once you got to a certain point in the book, had like a reveal at the end of the chapter or a cliffhanger that was really juicy. And for some reason, I thought we were just gonna follow these people on a reality show and nothing that dangerous or like book altering would happen, especially this early on. But yeah, one of the couples is not going to be in the competition anymore. But I guess that's to be expected. I don't know why I didn't expect it. Something I didn't mention that's introduced really early on is how the characters are aging, because this is a short-term reality show, and so they want to see how they're going to parent throughout these children's entire lives. So it's not just babies. Like they move on from toddlers in the very first couple chapters, and it's like every 2 years of their life is represented by 1 month or something. So now at this point, we're getting to where they're becoming like adults, these children. And along the way, we've learned a lot of things. The background of characters' relationships that we thought we knew, but we get more backstory. Different family members, I'll say, who we didn't previously know existed coming out of the woodwork. And what I'm really liking about this is we're not going in a specific order that's like, here we're gonna follow this couple for a chapter, this couple, this couple, this couple, all of them, and then repeat, and then all of them, and then repeat. It's like we get to see who we're most interested in. If you just dropped a bomb, then it's only maybe 1 or 2 chapters following someone else before we get back to it. So it doesn't feel like the cliffhanger you left us on is exhausting to get back to. We're gonna return to it in a timely manner. And then we get little message boards throughout, and we get polls. People are voting on what couple they like the most. And we're in the last probably couple chapters of each couple. So I feel like there's gonna be some bombs dropped here. It's been fun. I think this ending will probably solidify it as a 4. If it's underwhelming to me, then it's gonna be in the 3s. Okay. Family Experiment got a little bit exhausting by the end. It was like, oh, I hate to complain because it's like reveal after reveal after reveal, and I do want a wild, crazy thriller. And I don't think this should have been written any differently because you need closure for every single moment, every single character, every single storyline. But it was just a little tiring, even though it was surprising. This is where I'm putting like the ranking for that. I'm gonna rate this at 3.5, I think. I really should have just listened to the entire audiobook rather than going out and purchasing this, because I'm just gonna probably donate it by the end of the year. I think it's probably just as strong as the one. So if you read the one in the last couple of years, would definitely recommend this. But for me, who read it like, oh my God, I don't know, was it like 8 years ago? I feel like if I had read that now for the first time, I probably would have ended up giving them a similar rating. I do love the way that John Marrs structures his stories. I really like all of the commentary alongside this. Like, clearly, I feel like this is a person with children. Like, there's no way this person doesn't have children, because the parenthood just feels very visceral in a good way and a bad way. Like, it brought back a lot of memories of early parenthood days and like how overwhelming it is. And there was so much conversation about monetizing your children, which I really liked, and how different characters thought of things differently. And there was really no like good character. Everyone had such mess. But there was a couple people who had really good intentions in the end, but they're not the type of characters that you get to know that well, because there's so many of them and you're flipping between them all so rapidly. One thing I didn't like about this is certain stereotypes that I feel like you could have easily given other characters those attributes, and they wouldn't have felt like weirdly racially, culturally, sexuality based stereotypes. I am glad I had it physically though, because I really liked getting to look at things like news reports and stuff. And I will put this on my list of reality show books that I would recommend. And definitely surprising. Like, you're not gonna open up this book and be able to predict every single one of the storylines that gets revealed. So I appreciate it for that. Glad I read it for this video. I completed 6 books. And I had a couple really big wins. I didn't hate anything. So that's it for me today. And the next one you'll see is books that scared you. And then after that, books that made you learn something. And hopefully I am scared and I learn. So I'll see you then, but also like 10 other times in and amongst those times. Okay, bye.